Hi, my name is G, and welcome to the fourth OSE 3D Printer Workbench demo. In demo number 3, I covered how you can create a frame in the workbench with 3D printable corners for easy disassembly of the printer later. In demo 4, I want to show you how you can then export those corners to a file format that you can then print. So without further ado, let's get into FreeCAD and quickly recap how to create a frame with the 3D printable corners. I'll select the OSE 3D Printer Workbench from the drop-down, click the Add Frame button, select the frame, and then toggle the Has Corners property to True. And we'll notice that the geometry now includes the 3D printable corners. This is great, but what if I then wanted to select one of those corners and export it to a file format like STL? We'll notice that FreeCAD considers the frame a single object. I have no way to select individual subparts or subcomponents of the frame, like each individual corner. So how did we decide to solve this problem or come up with a solution? We ended up deciding on creating a separate FreeCAD macro for creating the corner, which I'll call the angle frame connector macro. Once the macro is installed, you can then execute it, and we'll notice that a form pops up in the tasks panel that I can then use to create a corner of any size. Let me generate a corner and then walk through what each of these fields do. So the slot width is the width or distance of the slot. So the default is 1.5 inches, and I'll notice that if I measure this here, we'll see, yep, the slot width is 1.5 inches. Similarly, I can show you the slot thickness parameter is this right here, which is 1/8 of an inch by default. We'll also notice that the material around the slot is the same thickness as the inside of the slot. Then we have the orientation, which allows you to select which of the 8 corners you want to make. The add set screw mechanism generates the geometry with the holes so that you can then fasten or tighten the corner to the frame with a set screw. This is useful for larger printers when you're worried about misalignment or slips. However, in practice for smaller printers, you might be able to get away without using a set screw. So this is why it's optional. Add filleting or filleting simply rounds out the edges here and makes it a little bit easier to insert the angled bars of iron. Another detail that I wanted to mention about the set screw is that it assumes an M6 set screw, and this isn't dynamic or configurable. So let's say I created a angle frame connector of twice the size, so I'll set the slot width to 3 inches and slot thickness to 1/4 of an inch. So we'll notice that the corner is now twice as big, but the set screw is kind of tiny for this size. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the angle frame connector macro and what I wanted to show you today. I also have some future development ideas where we could enhance this by creating some sort of batch export feature where you can select how you want the corner to get generated, and then we could generate all 8 corners automatically, maybe as like a zip archive or something like that, just to make it a little bit easier. So that's all I got, and thank you for watching the video. I'll be sure to include links to relevant wiki pages in the description, as well as a link to the repository. Thank you so much.